Bonjour. Hello. Bonjour. Bonjour. What's up, George? How you doing in the chat? I can see you. I see you. I see you. It has been a couple of weeks. It has. It has. It has. Okay. You will have to let me know if the stream lags in any way, because the internet here today has been very up and down. So we shall see. Let's switch this around. What's good? What's good? I need to move this over to here. And we'll move this over to here. If you're here, be sure to say hello in the chat. Let's see all the faces that are with us today. And let's go into here and play this one. I like this one. Two seconds. What's up, Wendy? How are you doing? Good to see you. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're good. Alright, let's flip this around. Let's just adjust that angle. Oh, what happened here? It's fine a second ago. That will do. That will do. I'm very, very good. Thank you, Wendy. Thanks for asking. It's been a couple of weeks. I took some time. I've always said, should I decide to on it. Sometimes when we do the live streams, it's like really hard to sometimes force the creativity if you're not feeling it, sort of thing. So I took some time off last week from doing the stream, just to do exactly that. But all good. All good other than that. Although there's nothing wrong with that. So I had this idea where I wanted to draw there's a tattoo artist, and I can't remember the name specifically, but they draw this really cool style where they have a person or an animal or whatever it may be, and then they draw like what their like skeleton looks like on the inside, and it's very minimalistic, it's very cartoony, it's cool. But I thought, well, because it's Halloween season, I thought, well, what could I do that would be kind of similar in a concept? And I thought, well, what would a pumpkin, like we all draw pumpkins, but what if we did like half a pumpkin, and then where one side's like carved away, the other side reveals like the skeleton of the face underneath. So it's quite a fun sort of concept to draw. So I'm going to just try and sort of sketch that out to start with, sort of plan it out a little bit, and yeah, go from there. Really, go from there. Wendy says, I know that feeling, haven't drawn anything for weeks, but I haven't practiced my music for weeks, but I will come back to that one day. I think in the summer, I'm obviously not sure where it is for you, what it is for you in the world, but in the summer anyway, a lot of people, they take time away from those hobbies that, probably filled up last winter's time, and, last winter's hobbies. So I think everybody then starts to slowly pick it up a little bit again. Like I've definitely noticed, should I say, like a drop off in lots of things at the minute. I think again, people are just enjoying the summer and stuff, and then they just will come back once everybody's back indoors and it's colder again. So I'm just trying to sketch out the pumpkin to start with, and then see where we go from there. But we've got a fun Halloween tutorial coming this week on YouTube. If you're a patron, you already know. I'm just trying to get this angle there. Actually doesn't look too bad. Just trying to sort of sketch out the lines of where the pumpkin lines are going to be. You know, sort of the lining marks in the skin. Skin, what would you call it? What do you call the outside of a pumpkin? Is it the skin? We'll turn off the drawing assist for a second while we draw in a sort of rounded stalk on the top. So, didn't like that one. Something like that. We'll sketch it out. What's up, everybody? If you're here, be sure to say hello in the chat. It's good to see what faces have joined us. Okay, let's try and then work on the expression. I want to try and nail down. So I'm going to sketch it all out first, and then we'll get in there and do some nice line work. But I really want to get like a very creepy set of eyes. So that's going to be. Hang on, let's go back. Let's grab a color. Let's just grab this color for a second. What's up, Julie? How are you doing? Good to see you. So some sort of line work like that is a guide, and then from there I can sketch on top of that. Good to see everybody. Ingwer Fritton, how you doing? Good to see you. What's up, Paul? Have you not got anything better to do this evening? I know Paul, so it's all good. Yep, back after a little gap in our scheduling. Something like that, maybe. I was just saying at the very start of the stream that I said to you guys loads of times, but if I'm not feeling it, I don't want to force it, sort of thing. And last week I sat here and I was about to start, and just didn't really come to me at any point as to what to do, and I wasn't going to fight it too much. What's up, Alturas? How are you doing? Good to see you in the chat again. Oh, I forgot. Sorry, my nickname here is German. Oh, well, I hopefully didn't butcher it too much. And then what if we do, say, the nose here, and then we'll do a guide of the mouth. So the mouth needs to really. Let's do that one and go back onto that layer and use the orange as a guide mark. I got some good drawing in last night though. I got some good drawing in the evening, and we got a good tutorial lined up for Patreon out of it. That's always a really sort of successful evening for me, is when the end result works out to be something really you know, I can use it. So I'm just trying to sketch out a lining that I like the look of. That one's not too bad. That's a bit too straight though in the middle. That's not too bad either. And then from there we'll go back up a layer and we'll start to sort of sketch in the mouth a little bit. Now I always tend to not add enough sort of angular line marks in the pumpkin face. Like sometimes you've got to make them really aggressive. I actually have a tab open here, and there's some, like here for example, there's so many teeth in this one, and that one looks quite good. It looks pretty like scary. That one looks pretty cool, but I think I saw a couple in here that looked kind of nice. This one's really cool. Obviously it's got quite a cool like effect on it, but you can see how many sort of teeth marks are in there and how it twists up at the top. I really like that. That one looks really cool. So we'll see if we can do something a little bit like that. Let's go back to Procreate a second, or even actually just take another look just to triple check. There's stuff in here that catches my eye. I always do this before I design. Like, I know I'm dealing with pumpkins, so just to obviously look at a ton of them gives you so much inspiration as to what to draw. and then you can get some ideas from there, obviously. When he says, I tried to draw some Zentangle without tutorial, but it's terrible. What is that? I just don't know what brush and size to use. That's why I always follow tutorials. What style is that then? Is that a person? Draw some, or is that like a style? Sorry. That's got a very Jokerish look to it, doesn't it? I think we could just literally start to maybe hack away at the teeth. So I want to make it right, kind of grim, to be honest, like very sort of sketchy and very yeah, kind of very scary looking. Really want to give it that wild look to it. It's a kind of doodling, not sure how to explain it. Okay, that's fair enough. If you can send it to me on Discord if you like, if you want me to take a look at it and just see what type of style it is. See, that one's a bit too, it's a little bit too, well, that doesn't look too bad actually. There's probably a little bit of work in there we can do. I don't want them to be rounded either when we come to it, because I'm going to add some sort of 3D layer effect to it. Let's lower down this layer again, and let's just go back to the eyes, because I feel like this. Yeah, stuff we could do like that looks pretty cool. A bit more angled. Just drawing assist this layer and go again. That's kind of cool. You see I'm building up the layers because we're just trying to work out the final expression really. But I do have a host of Halloween tutorials if you already want to get started. There's a few on the channel. I think that mouth I'm not a fan of. I think we can do better than that. Maybe a little something like this. What's up, Milo? Good to see you. I'm glad you're okay. And I didn't expect to see you on the stream, but it's good to see you. Milo lives in Puerto Rico, which is currently going through an absolute storm. I nearly swore there, but an absolute nightmare of a storm. So we've been chatting during the week about that. So we just add in some sort of line work maybe. This is something I need to definitely do more of, and it's just the initial sort of sketching and making sure, you know, I'm happy with my composition and stuff before I get started. Because once you start and you're quite far in, it can be really hard to go back and undo it. And you're stuck with what you got then. Okay, that's coming together quite well. I like that one so far. I'm actually sweating my tits off in this jumper. I didn't think I'd be this one. What's up, Bella? Good afternoon. And Jack-o'-lantern sketch is looking good so far. It is coming along. It's definitely there. But then we need to get into the fact of it being like, so as I'm sort of written in the title there, I want to get into it where we hack away at it. So I need to maybe say grab like a blue, for example, just so I can then just start to work out what am I revealing and where, kind of thing. So like, you know, I'm going to create a new layer at the top. This is going to be like the overlay right at the very top. So we'll sort of hack away and we'll make our way, say, across the mouth. Kind of want to sort of in this area here, this is what we're kind of exposing. So, you know, we're chopping away through here maybe into this kind of space, and then in that space is where we draw the sort of skull look to it. What's up, CC? How are you doing? Good to see you. I think we can maybe refine these lines. Go a bit wider there. And then because we've already got sort of the lineup of the face and stuff like that, we can start to work on things like the skull work underneath. So like the cheekbone, the teeth, all that sort of stuff we can work on. Which we may need to look at some reference images for, but it's also just for fun. So we will obviously have like a cheekbone, say here, so we need to just emphasize that a little bit. So we're gonna draw this in, maybe even just come around on itself like that. We'll have the top row of the mouth, followed by all the ridges underneath for the teeth, followed by the teeth, which probably need to be a bit bigger than that. We'll keep the teeth grit, so we'll create this line here, the underside of the teeth, and that should be everything. We've got the eye socket. So it will be a bit more obvious when we get closer into the time, because the eye socket will be dark, everything will be white on that kind of side. So I think that works out nicely for a sketch. We can crack on with the actual design. So let's make the background this color here, or even this one. Let's then get started on drawing everything else in. So we'll do it in white to start with, and we'll grab our monoline brush. And we'll go from there. It's good to see you. You are safe, Milo. It does look a bit nuts at the minute, to say the least. So just trying to get the arc and the top shape correct. Something like that would do for a second. We're just getting the outline shape. Flick that under there. Flick. That's probably a bit too round. What's up, Blue Bear? How are you doing? How are you? That bottom one's just a little bit too round. Needs to be kind of flat because it is a flat surface, of course. Okay, that's that. And there's a few changes that need to be made here. Like this layer here needs to roll into there a little better. So at least you guys get to see when it's like this, when it's like a live stream, you get to see it like right from the very beginning, the whole process, I guess, from start to finish. Also the mistakes, of course, as well, which I know a lot of people enjoy. Okay, then what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to start to mask this out, because I want to start adding in some sort of detail lines, maybe with this brush. That could do it maybe. I do like to dabble with Coco's brush as well. Yeah, that gives me some nice clean line work. Yep. We can flick this one up around here too. Lovely. And let's do the same. So what's everybody up to? What's everybody working on? Is anybody drawing at the minute? Are we all just getting back into it again? I was saying that right at the beginning of the stream that I feel a lot of people are, you know, still enjoying their summer and stuff, and what's left of it anyway, and getting back into the drawing side of things is something that you tend to like pick up again, isn't it, in the winter months, I would say, more so. I need to be really brave here with the chopping out. Bella, I'm going to do my own version of Jack-O-Lantern following along. Ah, cool. Go for it. Make sure to tag me in it on Instagram. See that line work at the bottom here now doesn't match up. The best thing about using masks, you've never actually erased it. You can just go back in again, color it back in, and then redo it. So this line's going to come down here and kind of follow on from there. So I always try to use masks where possible in tutorials, but I know a lot of people find them a little bit confusing and the concept of them. But that is a prime example there that if you make a mistake or it doesn't look quite consistent as you'd like, you can go back in, make the adjustment at any time, which is good. Right, let's then reduce this size down. Let's maybe then start to think about, oh, I've just realised I'm not using the drawing glove. There's just make some extra little sort of line work in there to show some of the darker areas. I need a light source, so probably top left, that's always my favourite. So maybe here we start to say create a curve. Oh, we need the drawing assist off. Milo, have you seen the next tutorial on YouTube? Have you seen the sneak peek of it that came out this week? Well, actually, it was actually out last week. Oh, actually, if there's a patron, any patrons here, which I obviously know there is, have you seen the latest post of the latest tutorial that went out Tuesday? Oh, on Patreon. Because I had a patron message me to say that they couldn't see it, and that was quite alarming. And I don't know if that's just a one-off, or if it's, you know, if no one else has seen it yet or wondering where it is. CC's seen it. Okay, cool. So at this side, I'm cutting out a lot more, and eventually I will... Actually, do you know what? I'm kind of wasting time because I need to cut the face out of it first. Let's undo that. Keep the basic line work in there. Let's do the rest. Okay, let's drawing assist it. Let's then cut the eyes out as we had before. Let's move this underneath our sketch so I can see all the line work we drew in. Let's go back to mono. Yes, it was a sinking planet one. Maybe it's just they just couldn't find it potentially, but yeah, they mentioned that they couldn't see it, which was a bit like, well, if you can't see it, then does that mean everyone else can't see it? Okay, that's the eyes. That looks good. That little twist at the top just gives it a bit more of a wicked look to it, which is cool. Okay, let's go up here. Let's get the nose in. I'm going for quite jagged lines. Let's do the mouth. Again, I want to get that kind of twist at the top, so let's come down here. Had to let go there for a second, but that's all good. There we go. Okay, that's looking cool. It's got that consistency with the tips there, just make it look like there's kind of a theme to it going on. I think the eyes could be a little bit bigger. I think we could scale them up, put them right in the middle. That's fine. Yep, that's cool. Let's roll with that. Let's then also make the cutout for the opposite side as well. So I need to pick like a different color for a minute. I'm going to make the cutout on this side here for the skull that will be underneath the carving. So we're going to do a carving. There we go. That's fine. I can drag and drop the color into that space. Excuse me. Excuse me. Sissy, you were right on that, the tutorial when it first came out. I saw two at exactly almost the same time, and they were rapid. So you were right on it. Yeah, Milo, I mean, you got a perfect excuse. Not that you need an excuse, but you know what I mean. Okay, cool. Let's gonna grab that blue into there a second. The eyes on here. Let's grab. Yep. And oh, the nose. And let's drag that into the mouth so that I can go to the main body now. Drag in. Let's grab this color here. Drag that in. So this is going to be the skull side. So there's going to be, it's going to be hard to explain. There's going to be like a cutout. So for example, if I go to that cut now and we change that to say this black, we need to create the 3D look that it's been carved into. So for example, I'm going to scale this down like here, and then this jagged edge on the side is the, you can already kind of see it down here a little bit. You've got that 3D look, but then right here is going to be the skull of the pumpkin. So yes, this is carved into. I'll need to bear that in mind, that can't go too deep, because that there is going to be carved into. So I need that to be nice and chunky. Again, as always with these streams, you're just listening to me sort of ramble on to myself, but it's all good. We scale this down, we put it in the middle. That's the inside of the mouth. I've got to line everything up in a second. But that will be the inside of the mouth, and we can't have that being as deep as here, because this is like a really big cut, which is going to reveal the skull. But this side here can't be that deep. It's got to be quite a shallow carving. So something like that. Okay, yeah, that's cool. So let's delete that. That's going to look nuts. Let's delete that, create a new layer, clip and mask it, select that shape, invert it, go back to the layer, go fill. What's up, Troy? Troy with the 10 gifted memberships in the chat. So they will be randomly provided to you, and it looks as if they're already going out. If you have received a membership, you get a little badge beside your name. And if you get a little badge, it will show in the comments on any YouTube video on my channel, so you can flex that you are a YouTube member supporter, and everyone will see that you are one in the chats on both a live stream, in the comments. So for the next month, be sure to go ahead and comment on as many videos as you can. And just like Julie's got there beside her name in the chat, you'll end up with a little J beside your name of different colors. So if it's your first membership, it'll be navy. If it's your second membership, I believe it then goes to blue, light blue, I think. And then it goes to green, like Julie's got, for example. And then it goes to bronze when it's 6 months. Which is what Troy has, and then when it gets a year, it goes to silver, and when it goes to silver, it goes to gold, and so on. So be sure to thank Troy in the chat if you were gifted one. They are at random, so don't shout at him if you didn't get one. Who did get one? Jesse, Hong, Critty, Chris, Kirsty, Grimmy, Bart, Vonetta, Bavika, I think it's everyone. And Just Lee, your tutorials are amazing. Thank you so much. You are very, very welcome, and I appreciate you dropping into the chat and sharing some love. I appreciate that. If you are a fan of the Halloween theme designs, you're gonna love this weekend's tutorial on YouTube. It is a banger. I am very excited for everybody to get their hands on it. If you're already a patron and a super supporter or higher, you will have already had early access to it. So be sure to head over to Patreon and grab it. Get your early access. If you're thinking of becoming a patron, there's a link in the description down below. You get over 40, what are we up to now? I think it's 45, 46, 47 tutorials. I can't remember. I just keep churning them out. We've got a few. We've got a seaside landscape design next month. We have a. We have. Do you know what? I'm going to keep the other ones. I'm going to keep the other ones a secret because I'm still working on them a little bit. Okay, cool. So let's get all the 3D elements in here. Troy, as always, I appreciate you dropping in some love in the chat with the gifted memberships. Taking care of everybody as always. Warm sunset tutorial now. I've had some time. Oh, cool. That was the first one of this month, wasn't it? The warm sunset. I particularly like the final product, simply just with the last step of just adding in. I explain it in the video, but the glow, and just something that I've been trying to do with tutorials recently. Well, not tutorials, just in general with designs. Just adding in like a very big flare, essentially, to just give off the impression of the light and how it's sort of making its way around the design. So what's this over here? This is, let's potentially erase this. Oh, drawing assist, let's turn that off, and I can always flip the layer. Yeah, let's get rid of that in that section. That is our cutout there, which means this cutout here also needs to be adjusted. So I kind of need to come like across here almost. Yeah, that's it. So we come down here and across there. So we separate the big deep cutout here on the right from everything else on the left hand side. Does that make more sense now how it's coming together as a design? I think it should do. I never forget those doodle challenges, Milo. Every Wednesday you come into my mind and I'm like, oh, I've got to get that doodle challenge up because Milo's going to be fuming with me otherwise. I'm trying to give the doodle challenge a bit more love as well. You know, trying to post it on the socials and over on Instagram as well. What's up, Jay? How are you doing? And Amor Alani? I'm so sorry if I've just absolutely butchered that. I can only apologise. Okay, cool. There we go. So the whole design now is being cut out. The nose doesn't really need anything. So what's going to have to happen, and this is why this concept probably doesn't really make much sense. We're going to do the skull in here, but the pumpkin side of it, this is just going to have to be like a really shallow carving, like nothing like a hole. It can't be a full hole, because if it was a hole it would show the skull, if that makes sense. So we're kind of imagining the skin, or the outside, you know, I guess it's the skin, you know, of the pumpkin, where it's usually like, say, an inch thick. We're imagining that once you get past that inch thickness of the outside skin, you'll then see the bone. So this is just going to have to be like a really shallow, as I said, really shallow carving essentially. So let's alpha lock this a second and go to, say, there and grab like a really dark orange and fill that layer. Let's do the same here. Alpha lock, fill, and the nose too. Let's just drag and drop that in. Whereas this side is going to be very dark. It's going to be, let's just put like a dark grey in there for a second, because we're going to have features in there such as the bone, the eye socket, stuff like that. So Julie says, so like you see the flesh of the pumpkin instead of the inside. Exactly, yeah. So we're kind of just a shallow carving into the flesh, and then here is going to be like a cheekbone on there, all sorts else. So let's say here, for example, I don't want to do the skull first because I want to look at a few reference images first before I do so. But you know, say the cheekbone here, rolling round, and then we'll have the eye socket, you know, like there, into the nose, kind of thing. So that will be dark in there, and there'll be, you know, other stuff in this area here. But otherwise, that will be dark in this area for the socket, kind of thing. And then the teeth will all run, so gum line, let's just put like, say, a gum line like this, so it kind of matches, and then like a tooth. Again, very basic for a second, and then we'll do another set of teeth here. Got a nice rounded, you know, eye socket here. White up in this area too. But you can kind of get the gist of it, kind of thing. It's gonna be kind of cool. I thought about it this morning. I was walking the dogs outside. That's kind of a cool idea. It's just going to be such a bizarre one to try and actually pull off. But I'm sure if I can focus on the rest of it and nail the rest, all of it will come together nicely. So let's do exactly that. Let's just clipping, clipping. And let's start with, this is, what tone is this? This is this one. Right, it's the darkest one. Okay, cool. So we can use this color here now and start to work in some other areas. I appreciate you, CC. Sharing the love as always. Hopefully I will do you proud. We'll see how it comes out. So we're working with lighter tones now, so I can maybe brighten this up and literally just brighten up sort of the whole of the left. If we're imagining our light source is on the left, we can maybe start to just block in a few different tones. So this yellow here for a second will cover mainly, like, say, that much. We're doing sort of very basic layers here. So then clipping mask this. The next yellow will cover, you know, say this much. So you're kind of reducing the size that it covers as you go round. Another one, say here. And then you would reserve, say, your highlight tone potentially for like things such as, like, you know, adding in some really bright edges, say here, on the left hand side of this little bump that sticks out a little bit more on this side, and adding in some nice streaky look to it. We're going to try and give it that kind of Illustrator look, maybe the tiniest little highlight on there, and that's roughly what it's going to kind of come out like. You can already see from that kind of where it's going with the darker tones on the right, the light source on the left. We could even maybe, like, you know, put some sort of lighting on the bottom anyway. We would add like little strokes here on the inside of the eyes. This is me just kind of planning now. Inside of, say, the teeth areas, definitely as we get further around, teeth are all going to need some nice highlights on them. Little something like that. And I kind of want to use this blue as a shadow color, so we come over here and then we kind of like wrap this blue around this side. We like bring in some blue areas here where the shadows are, kind of thing. Maybe the odd little blue here, something kind of like that. That's kind of what we're going for. I'm not sure about the blue, this blue, having seen it on. I think we could just keep going with sort of darker orange tones. Would look pretty cool. Maybe something like that. Right, so let's what's my plan here? Let's work on the left and make our way around. So I want each section to use kind of like 2 colors or 3, and then we'll move it along a 3. So let's do that. Let's go up here, fill in this side nice and yellow, followed by the next yellow tone where we can if you're interested what brush I'm using, it's Coco's brush. It was in a couple of recent tutorials. I can't remember which ones specifically, but maybe just bits of line work that run around here. Let's have a little couple of dashes in here. And let's see what we can do with the brightest tone in just the brightest areas only. So then you just reserve this color for inside of these sections. I'm not sure if I'm going to use this brush, in fact, because looking at how it's blocking in, it's not giving me quite the look I want. Let's see what we can do. In fact, let's actually just block out a big chunk of colour. Be a bit braver, chucking the colour in there. I think truthfully, I actually might prefer what I did before and roll with that instead. Like that gives me an idea straight away, and then I can just go in and adjust it. Did I do that on? I did. Okay. Let's undo a boatload of that. Oh, in the syncing tutorial. Yeah, that's a good point. Which other one did I use it in? I think I've used it in a few Patreon ones only recently. Sorry, I'm just undoing. I preferred the way I blocked in the colour to start with. It gives you much more of a guide to work off, but the lighter tones where I've just placed them all on top there were a bit too random, so I need to go back in and adjust them. Yes, in the one you did as well, Troy, for sure. That's better. Now I'm thinking, for the shadowed side, is this... Okay, that colour actually only sits there. That's quite interesting. Let's just create a curve, create an arc, get rid of that. Okay, let's go in now, refine it from this point. To maybe just create extra layers and do it from there. Milo, well, I have to go. I'm going back home from my office now. Much love, Joel, and much love to all. Milo, good to see you. I'm glad you're well, and we'll see you again when you're back. Stay safe. So if you're here in the chat, be sure to say hello. Everybody likes to see new faces in here, and especially me. I like to see who's hanging out. Even if you're just watching, it'd be nice to see what faces are with us today, or every stream really. It's always nice to see what faces are choosing to hang out with us on your Wednesday, I don't know, evening, or it depends on where you are in the world, I suppose. But if you're maybe at work, let us know. For anyone who doesn't know, Milo is based in Puerto Rico, which is currently experiencing quite a nightmare of a storm. I keep seeing videos about it on TikTok and it looks absolutely nuts. We don't really get like too crazy weather over here in the UK. It just rains a lot, really. That's about it. That's about it. So this is why I always say it's really important to know where your light source is, because it can tell you everywhere that you need to be highlighting, where you need to be shading. So going in here now with some highlights, I know, you know, my light source is up here in the top left. Where this crease is in here, I also need to add in a corresponding, you know, highlight, because that's facing the light source, much as is this as well. And maybe we add in a few that just show that curvature a little bit more. Troy, there is a possibility that I am here lurking. It's all good. It's good to know that you're here. I know a lot of people do actually watch this while they're at work. Kat used to watch it while she was driving home, so not that I advise that. No, don't do that. And she would message in the chat every time she hit a red light. And then she'd hit just green lights and everyone would worry about, is Kat okay? Hasn't said anything for a while. I'll try again with another 10 gifted memberships. Guys, if you receive one, be sure to thank Troy in the chat. I think, oh wow, they're already going out. Oh, that's cool. Blue Bear was gifted by Troy, so was Sarah, so was Cheryl, Miss Bella so far. We'll see if it goes through with all 10. So as I mentioned earlier, if you were here and you weren't gifted one then, if you receive one, you get a little badge beside your name for a month now. So you've been gifted one by Troy. It's nothing that you are signed up to. You're just rewarded by Troy and his generosity in the chat. And you can comment on videos and show that you are a super supporter, well, a supporter of the stream. You get a little badge beside your name now as well, which is pretty cool. So as my highlights are just starting to sort of wrap around from that left hand side to the right, I need to start going in with some much darker tones shortly, just to break up the details. And although they are in the lighter spaces, I do need to go in and add some shadows. So maybe we go in with, say, this color maybe. We'll do it on a separate layer just in case. I have you on while I'm unpacking my stuff. It's never ending. Oh, you moved house, haven't you? How's that going? Moving is very stressful. Okay, so what I'm thinking here is I might just use, say, like a, not color burn because that's too bright, maybe linear burn, or darker color, even darker color, because what this will allow you to do is paint with one color, but no matter sort of where you paint, which should be the case. Why is that not working? Where you paint should always get darker, but that's not showing as darker. So maybe I'll just continue as I was. We'll go back in from time to time and adjust it. And then each one here also needs a corresponding sort of shadowed side as well on the tooth. You want to keep the line work nice and tidy. Oh, cool. I'm glad you're getting settled in, Julie. And it can take a while. Troy says, I work and lurk when I'm not meeting and subscription bombing from time to time. You're always in there sharing the love, Troy. I really do appreciate it. It helps, supports the channel, gives everybody, it gives you something to give to everybody else as well, which I really like about the gifted memberships. I think that's really cool. This is coming along really nicely, just getting a bit braver with adding in sort of the little sort of textures in the skin of the pumpkin. I want it to have a very cartoony look to it, so that's already coming along quite nicely. So if we look at that side there, still some fun little bits in there. We'll come back to it. I think I just need to do the other side, and I'm thinking for the other side we do in fact use, say, the blues. Just see what we can add in there shadow wise. So like this crevice here, this centerpiece sticks out a little bit more, so it should technically, you know, cast a shadow in the same way that the rest is on the other side. So I'm just going to add in some little marks in here. I'm not sure about that blue. I don't know if it's just because it's like a little bit too saturated. What if we went with like a purple instead? That looks a little bit better. Let's do that. Let's use the purple and start on the far right instead. Troy says, drawing skulls is hard. I tried doing it and still... Oh, all gone. Maybe a bit more eggplanty purple. Yeah, this one's not too bad now, this side. but I think I need to again be brave like on the other side and just block the color in like that, and then from there sort of, you know, bring it round, but sort of very casually, following the same styling, but just, you know, seeing if we can, you know, do something like this. Sometimes it's just easier just to block it in, see what happens, and just roll with it. You know, like, that doesn't look the worst. It's quite obviously the shaded side, and then on here, you know, as long as I, you know, style it in the same way as everywhere else with the little dashes here and whatnot, and sort of the texture lines, it should, you know, start to come together. It's a bit funky, but it's cool. Yeah, this is definitely a better color. Drawing skills is hard. I tried doing it in a still life I did recently. It can be fairly complex to get lighting correct. Yeah, I think I saw, did you share that on Discord? I think you did, didn't you? I definitely remember seeing that you'd done some skulls recently. This is a much nicer color. I don't know who just said that as well, but they also agree. This is a much nicer color, and I'm not sure if I should just roll with this as the overall shadow color. You know, should I go into here, alpha lock this, so we just have the lightest color and then this purple as the shadow. It looks a bit funny on the left side because it's quite aggressive shadow compared to the rest of the colors. But if we were to, like, you know, darken this up a little bit more and add in more texture into here, you know, more scratches into there as well. What do we think? Do we think that that purple's a bit too aggressive? If we were to change, you know, say here as well, just adding in some line work, some little dashes just for texture. It's very, it's quite maybe graffiti stylish as well at the same time. It's got some nice graffiti element to it. And then I think if we then ultimately then put it onto the opposite side as well by adding a reverb highlight, say to here. It's the tiniest little bit of reverb on the side here. Not sure. What's up, Funky? How you doing? I'm cool. I'm good. How's life? What's new? We're debating, well, I'm debating at the minute whether or not this blue is, or bluey purple is too much for this side of the design in comparison to what we had before. Maybe if I just roll with the darker tone here and just fill that instead, so that's more of a warmer tone. Now, what would that even look like on this side? This is always quite a fun bit, although it looks kind of annoying. You are rolling with the another option for the shadow would be brownish orange. Exactly, Bella, we're already on it. Maybe we go even darker than that. We add in some more darker tones available to moi. So maybe I'll roll with this and just follow the same styling. Yeah, this works a lot better. So then, like in here, we just follow the same styling. Quite liking this kind of scratchy line work. I think I did it in the one that Troy's doing now, which is the sunset one over on Patreon. I did that recently over there, and I do quite like it. I think it's because it's quite a nice random look to it, and you get quite a lot of you can make quite a lot of detail by not having to be super accurate. That almost looks a bit, oh no, that does look cool. I'm looking at it there in the, yeah, we just need to add more into this space. So say here, Let's grab the lighter tone. I think it was this layer. We roll from there. We roll from there. I drew something last night that I really want to share with you, but I just can't do it yet because I want it to be a tutorial, and I think it's gonna be a beauty. I know that sounds quite biased, but sometimes you just know when people are really going to enjoy a design. You just get that inkling. So I'm thinking a little bit like that, and then I'm going to try and move on to the inside of like the mouth and stuff now, and just see what we can maybe come up with in there. Again, we want, as I mentioned earlier, we want that sort of fleshy look on the inside. So maybe inside some of these teeth here on the left, we go with more of an orange, where it's a bit, maybe just a little bit lighter on the left. And then it gets into, say, this color here. Maybe go darker than that. You know, a little bit more like that. And then here we can do some of that flesh design. So let's, oh hang on, it's actually inside the mouth, isn't it? Which is this layer here. Debating what to do here. Do I just do like scratchy line work all the way up and down to kind of show that kind of stringy, isn't it? Almost like it does have quite a stringy construction, the skin and stuff underneath in a pumpkin. Let's maybe do that. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, that's the ticket. And then let's darken this up. This is the cocoa brush. Yeah. Oh no, this is the owl line brush. So that's a tutorial over on my channel if you want to grab the brush. It's quite good for like line work and stuff, but I particularly like it. It's the same sort of format essentially as the cocoa brush. You can just add in like a lot of sort of, it's got quite a thin taper on it. So you can add in nice little scratchy effects. I see you are flying at the minute. Okay, with the tutorials, did I see you getting right back into it? I see you started a Patreon as well. Is that new? Or am I just absolutely ignorant and just did not notice? I'm pretty confident that that sounds new. Otherwise I would have known. Surely. Wait, that's new? Is that what you're saying? Is yep. Wait, so that is new then? The Patreon? Oh no. Ah, shit. Yeah, started a Patreon. Oh, cool. Well, guys, if you haven't already, be sure to go and check out Funky's Patreon. I'm sure it'll be linked in her bio somewhere. Or feel free to drop it in the chat if you'd like to. And then just as the light's starting to roll around towards the right hand side, I'm going to get back in here now with a slightly lighter tone, just in here. Because that's where the lighting's coming across. And then in there needs to be really a lot darker. I'm quite liking how this is looking. The texture's come along quite well, hasn't it? Because it's sort of built up on itself, and this is kind of the cool thing. Like in the mouth there, if I zoom right in, all that is just a series of just orange and yellow lines. But when you zoom out, you kind of get the overall picture. This is what I've tried to say a lot recently in tutorials: is, you know, do not get lost in the details. Like, always zoom out, because the overall picture, you've probably already achieved what you want to achieve. You just add in extra detail because you're zoomed right in. Just look at the overall picture, zoom out. Might need to add a bit more orange in a second to these areas, but I'm just trying to crisscross this texture in. And then this is where it gets a bit darker, so we might have to go a bit darker again. At this point, I most definitely think I'm drawing for myself, because this just wouldn't make a very good tutorial at the minute, but it's a fun idea, and then we can see where it goes from there. Trying to load into the Halloween mode, especially with some of the designs. But luckily, this is the cool thing now, is like we're obviously a couple of years in now. Last year's catalogue of designs that I've done are now going to start to, you know, have a second wind almost, because the season's come back around for it, and I'm sure people will want to get their hands on the previous tutorials. And once I start sharing them on Instagram and stuff, you know, like my throwbacks and whatnot, I think a lot more people will want to go and check them out. There's quite a few, and obviously the Patreon ones as well, because throughout the year where I've done throwbacks for Patreon, I've held back the Halloween ones, especially for you know, closer to the time. So that'll be great if they get a little bit second win. For example, the paper cutout design for Easter, that absolutely flew for me. It's a really successful video, and I'm hoping that you know, come next year will be in everybody's feeds, and you know, we'll have a second wind and continue to do so maybe every year, which is can give you a hint at kind of the style for Friday's tutorial on YouTube. You know, it is very much a paper one, because I want to have a paper cutout design for every season. I have done a Halloween one before, but I think based on things I've learned over the last year, there was stuff that I could add and refine. So and I kind of worked out sort of a very easy sort of formula for the paper cutout ones, and if you get a nice palette, it can just absolutely, you know, make the design come to life completely. Cool. I'm really liking this texture overall. There's so much going on. I need to reflect that though in these areas too, inside the mouth and stuff, inside the nose, should I say. Is it the darker tone I need? It is the darker tone. Inside here, let's do a clipping mask for a second. we'll skip to this part here. And we'll add in a nice shadow here too. And obviously then Christmas as well. We've got a nice collection of Christmas tutorials. I went pretty sort of ham last year on the seasonal style tutorials. I'm probably not going to do quite that. I may do, you know, 1 or 2 per season, but I'm not going to do quite as many because then they really will rack up. This crisscrossing and stuff is really making that sort of fleshy look to it look quite nice. Adding in some very skinny lines in there to get the base in. Let's then add in that brighter tone. And that's mainly going to be sort of in here. I'm not looking forward to the skull part, I'll tell you that, because that's gonna be interesting, just to try and, you know, adapt a skull to fit a pumpkin's head. We also missed the yellow on the last one. I didn't realise I added the yellow, so we'll just dash in some yellow in these areas here. Just a few little bits. Zooming out, that's good. And then we can go in and add in the shadow tone, which was this one. I hope you're enjoying it. If you've got any questions, always feel free to drop them in the chat. If you're just watching along, appreciate you hanging out. And then I've just realized this is the sort of side profile of the inside of the eyes, where we just have little bits of here to emphasize. There we go. Oh, shoot. Didn't alpha lock it. Very ASMR. Should we be quiet? I'll put the mic right on the paper. Well, it's actually not paper, it's the ghost. Well, no, it is ghost. Is it, what do they call it? Ghost paper? At the minute. And I'm about to switch it back to a paperlike. For some reason, I think the paperlike has a slightly more less. It's got less of a reflectiveness to it, and being that, you know, don't really need my face bouncing back at me in the videos, I want to switch it back. That always looks really quite nice when you zoom back out of the whole thing and just get an idea for what it is you just finished doing. This effect is actually really cool. I'm quite happy with this. I can't wait to see the skull in this. Oh God, don't say that. You're putting the pressure on me now. We'll see how it goes. It might not work. What layer am I looking to do this on? This one. That's looking really cool. I think there's probably enough space here to be adding in even more. For example, like at the top here, based on how much scratch marks I've done there, I think I could get away with, you know, really going to town a bit more with the scratch marks and just see what we can, you know, work out, see what we can just add in. And then maybe even go back over and start to overlap this and go back over it a little bit more. I like what I've done already though. Like I like the little dashes and stuff of the extra colour, but I think like zooming in here, I just added a bit more colour in these areas there, so that should start to, if I'm following that curvature here, there would be a little dash in there, like almost like a line, and then we can just scratch that away. Yeah, and then here too, I think we can brush size, if you're interested, is 23%. I'm glad you're liking the texture, so am I. I think it looks pretty cool. Let's add in some more. I always find this angle a bit trickier when you go in, when you're going against yourself a little bit. Rather than that way, it's nice and easy, it's all wrist. Whereas this way, it's, you know, you're having to curve your arm unless I whip it upside down, I guess. And let's, in fact, why can't I draw on top of that? This has just come about by accident, which is quite cool. I wasn't planning on doing that much texture, but it's quite quick to add in, which is nice. Hey. Right. I think then the floor we could just maybe do, maybe I'm like just avoiding doing the actual scale side, but you could add in, say, like yeah, that's cool. Julie says, yeah, the inside flesh of the pumpkin is lighter than the outside skin. Maybe some extra highlight scratches in there. The flesh of the pumpkin skin is like, oh, sorry, you mean as in typically? Yeah, I'm with you. What? So you're saying to lighten up the inside? So with this brighter tone here. There's something a bit more like that. I don't want to go too bright with it, but I know what it is you're referring to, I think. I think inside this mouth could do with a bit of work as well, because that here could do with just like a little bit of work in here maybe. That shadow actually needs to be a lot more defined. Where is that? There are certain highlights and shadows you need at your hierarchy. So like here. So like here, for example, I want to darken up the inside edge of the mouth. That will help separate it, but they always need to be there. Not that side, this side. So no matter what the scratch marks are around it. Which to me is actually telling me that really my background colour now needs to be that colour. That's much better. That fits now. That looks better. We've sort of outlined it and defined it a bit more. Okay, so I'll do what you mentioned there. Let's just get this lighter tone on the inside of the nose as well. Just a little bit. And here, I've got to still abide by my shadows, but we can definitely do something a bit more like that. And the mouth. Just a few scratch marks there should tend to brighten that up quite a bit. Now I want that lighting to just drift off to the right hand side. That looks a bit better. Although, what colour is this? Is that just black? No. That's the colour we need. What's up, Elizabeth? How are you doing? Just pop in and say hi. Can't hang about today. Magical blessing to you. Have a wonderful day, Elizabeth. I appreciate you dropping in and sharing some love. Right, are we ready? Let's have a look online first. So let's go back to Chrome and let's have a look for a skull illustration. So I always find the best thing to search for is a skull illustration, or skull or something illustration. So illustration, and let's just see what it is we can come up with, and just look at the characteristics of the skull. So this is probably a good example to look at. We've got the cheekbone here in the socket, so I need to obviously bear in mind the socket as well. That's something we need to try and think of incorporating into the design. We've got these nice little groove marks above the teeth, as well as the teeth obviously, but then we have the jaw and a gap in the cheek. So this is probably my best reference image that I think I'm going to find that fits what I think I want and the style I kind of like as well. And we've got this nice little bit here. So what I think the first thing is I'm going to do is actually copy this for a second. So copy to clipboard. Let's go back in here. Let's go to that layer for a second. So this is this layer here. 3 fingers down and paste. Let's then, for a second, get rid of the other one on the left. We don't need that. We just need this one. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply just sort of zoom out for a second and try to adjust this so we know the nose is there and the rest of the mouth, etc. So let's just try and like manipulate this to give us a guide as to what we need to do. And then we can, I mean, that already looks great, but I want it to also replicate the kind of characteristics a little bit more of a skull, of a pumpkin. So like, I don't want the teeth to end here. I want them to be a bit further out. I think I also need to like really flatten this down. There we go. So those teeth kind of line up a little bit, but I kind of want to drag them out. The cheek, the sort of jaw will move way over to the right hand side. But that kind of looks good for sort of the main ideas really. So we could lower the opacity down of that and use that as a guide and create a new layer and get to work on adapting this to fit our pumpkin. So for example, the eye, we will grab them one line. Looking at our eye here, it's got a bit more of a twist upwards, so I'm thinking we kind of start at a similar point here, but just sort of curve that round a little bit and then go round into the eye. What's up, Tracy? I ain't seen you for ages. How's things? I saw you back on Patreon. How's life? What's good? How is life treating you? Now I think here, do I need, oh, I'll tell you what, I kind of just block in all the shadows. Let's use the shadows instead. So cheekbone, I think we could maybe bring inwards a little bit more. And so say for example, thanks Cameron, I appreciate that. I want to bring it into play a little bit more, so maybe we come around here and just create like a little curve under there. The teeth, how am I trying to work out how then what I've got to do here essentially, because we can add in all the nice shading and stuff, that's fine. I'll tell you what, let's just draw in, and then we're going to keep these teeth going backwards a little bit up to, say, weirdly, like up to there almost. I think that would look really cool. Tracy, trying to get my Procreate mojo back. I was literally just talking about this, that I think a lot of people, you know, when summer comes around, you know, people's hobbies that they had in the winter tend to take a back seat a little bit, and people, you know, rightly so, enjoy the summer, and then they tend to pick it up again a bit closer towards the winter. You know, when we're all back indoors and stuff, it can be a period where you get back into all those things. See, I think that's going to look really cool by just dragging that all the way up to the side. Let's go in on this area here too, so continue with the teeth. I need to redo them though, because some of those are a little bit odd, and they're not very consistent either. But it's just to get a basic plan in place, and then we can go back in and adjust it. Okay, that's looking cool. I quite like this idea with the sort of curve up and over here kind of thing. Just drag and drop that in for a sec. And then at some point here we need to see how that actually goes round. Is that goes round, hugs the side of the teeth, and then comes round. So I need to kind of sort of hug the side of the teeth here, and do I darken this area? All this thinking's getting me red up. Let's just for a second, let's just bring this skull right out to the top. Excuse me, and let's bring that back up to 100%. So the characteristics are the jaw goes beyond the mouth, leaves a gap, and tucks under the cheekbone. So if I go back to my own design and we turn off the skulls for a minute, we have a jaw that can go under there, but the teeth, there is no gap. So that could be a gap here. So we could do a gap there, for example, and then hug that under. So we get the plan in place first. That looks kind of cool that that goes under like that. I think the odd little detail here and there like that is key. We'll use that. But then if we go right back to the top again, we bring up that jaw, we then end up with it running into the base of the teeth and leaving a gap, and hugs underneath the jawbone or cheekbone. So that cheekbone there is almost too far. The problem is what the problem with this is, I'm trying to adapt a skull to fit the proportions like that. You could just make the skull wider, but I want it to look a certain way with the cheekbone in place quite strong and prominent. I think the cheekbone's got to move, unfortunately. I think in reality it's probably got to go like out here a little bit and curve round on itself, and then this bit here can be more of a jaw and like block into there a little bit more, a bit more of a cheekbone. Let's get rid of this detail here. Let's add a bridge of the nose as well, maybe, just so a detail there. We've not got a great big area to be working with, so potentially we're actually not that bad at all for ideas. Nice. What if we can then just add in some details around the nose there? Definitely more in here too. Again, just trying to plan this out now. Create the nice curves under the teeth. A few details in there that then curve around on themselves there. This bit of the bone here will be nice and dark. We'll add in some shade in there. We do need to add in kind of a brow marker. I think that's actually come along there. But the problem there is we need the teeth to connect, don't we? So if we were to say go all the way across here, that could be like a very freakish bit of bone there that holds the teeth. Either everybody's bored of this topic, or you're all watching along with me seeing if I can work it out. I don't want to rush into it. I don't want to get into it and realise that I don't like it. It's a shame, but because of the cutout and the space we've got, we're a bit restricted on certain things. I'm wondering whether or not I can actually grab this and cheekily maybe bring this in. Maybe bring that in a little bit more. That looks better straight away. And we've adapted it a little bit to the idea of a pumpkin. What's up, Elkan? How are you doing? And Jay says, I would love to draw this. It's going to take a while for me to even consider this as a tutorial, potentially. It's pretty nuts. I'm still trying to get my Procreate mojo back too. I think everybody is, to be fair. And it's the best time to be doing it, really, because from there you're going to be able to, from now, you know, you've got perfect time to be, you know, with Christmas coming up and potentially, you know, any breaks that you may get, a good time to be, you know, getting back into it. Let me just adapt this eye just a little bit more so it fits that styling a bit more. That looks cool. What's up, Kevin? How you doing? I appreciate that, dude. How's life? What's new? That eye looks much better like that. Right, let's is this? It's not. Okay, what's the best way to do this? Do I keep all the shadows and leave them as shadows and redraw that? I think I will. Let's redraw all of that. draw them down to like 6% and redo it. Tidy everything up. I noticed you didn't say the T word. We don't want to be banning anyone today. That's going to be cool. So that's the eye socket. Redone. The details and stuff we'll leave. It's just like very dark detailing I need to do. So guys, I have about 5 things that I'm trying to draw and not progressing on any of them. Ooh, what are you up to at the minute, Kevin? What work are you working on? Here, for example, this gap here with the teeth, we can curve that around here. Do you use a screen protector or anything? I do indeed. I always bounce between a couple of them. I have currently got a ghost paper screen cover on from the folks over at Upper, and otherwise we'll always have on a paperlike screen cover. I think a paperlike screen cover is absolutely, if you're going to buy any accessory and you draw on an iPad, it should be the first one you buy, in my opinion. It doesn't influence drawing in any way. It just gives you a little bit of satisfaction when you're drawing and gives you that feel of paper. The teeth is something that's actually worrying me a little bit. So I'm actually gonna sort of work on, oh no, do I? Yeah, I'm gonna work on the top area first. The base color is fine as it is. We've got these guides here, that's fine. I'm just gonna start to go in and add in, let's add in shading first. Julie says, I can't be drawing multiple drawings at the same time, far too distracted. That's why I have so many half-finished pics I never got to get back to, Kevin. And Kevin says, at least I have drawing inspired by Encanto. That's 2 bug-type Pokemon with La Casita in the background. Encanto, that's 2 bug-type Pokemon. What's the, which Pokemon is that? So eye socket wise is an indentation, so therefore we're going to be, wait, what's happening here? Am I on the wrong layer? I am not. So we're going to carry on with the scratchy look to it. We're going to darken up the eye socket. Try and make sure it's got that nice shadowed area underneath it. We're also going to darken up here where the light is not casting round. It's being hidden, as this is the darker side of the pumpkin, but we're leaving space to add in other little sort of I did. No, but I can work out the Encanto and a bug type Pokemon. I thought it was like you made it an abstract design of all of it in one sort of thing. Encanto, that's we don't talk about blue, no. That's the one, right? Don't mug me off here either. I know it is. Here we'll just darken up underneath the jawbone as well. I'm gonna have to scrap that because the line work in a style like this should be consistent, and everything else is vertical, and these areas here are not. So these should all be vertical really for consistency of style across the whole design. So we'll go back in and we'll do it again. No, because you're going to clip it. Listen, you can rewind it. You can rewind the stream and watch it back. You enjoy yourself. It's not a bad film. Hands down, Moana is one of my favourite Disney films. I mean, nothing, and I don't give a what anyone says. Nothing from a kid born in the 90s, which I know a lot of you, unfortunately. Yeah, come on, you know, a bit older, just a little bit. Nothing beats the nostalgia of The Lion King. Nothing. When you hear that come on, it's like, yo, the VHS is in. This is it. This is the afternoon. When you hear that, that's the one. I love The Lion King. I always sing it in the house. What's the one otherwise? Moana is so good. So good. Love that film. But The Lion King just can't be beaten. Honestly, it doesn't. It can't. I need to stop talking as well because my line work's now going all over the place. Coco is good. That's a tearjerker, that one, isn't it? What else are we talking? Come on, let's have a little Disney chat. What else is going on? I'm going to Disneyland next year. Disneyland Paris. Not going to tell you when, because if I see some of you there, I will be physically banning you. Just trying to get all the curvature a little bit now of the original Lion King, the new one. They're both absolutely golden. What else is there? I'm trying to think what else. I've got such a bad memory, I can't even remember what I have and what I haven't watched. But a friend of mine started showing me the Pixar shorts on Disney Plus. Some of them are decent. The one with the mountains, the volcanoes. Get your passports updated, guys. We're going to Disneyland. Have you heard of all the Disney remakes coming up? I saw like people being weirdly peed off about what's it called? Little Mermaid. Just so you can clearly understand what side it is that I lie on, it doesn't matter. Like, people are just assholes. Just let it be. Let it be what it is. The film will still be absolutely banging. Everyone will love it. Sorry. But people are just so stupid. Getting annoyed about a made-up character. Mufasa. Wait, is that another live action one? So is that this? Wait, what? Mufasa. Wait, so that's a prequel. Emperor's New Groove. That was so sick. Yeah, Emperor's New Groove. Toy Story. Although I look at Toy Story these days and I think, oh, it looks really dated compared to back in the day. Pinocchio. So did that come out in cinemas? I don't remember it coming out in cinemas, but that's on Disney Plus now, isn't it? Oh, is that the dragon one? No, yeah, that's the dragon one, isn't it? Raya. That's a good one. Has anybody watched the what's it called? She-Hulk. I've not watched it. I see people crying about it on TikTok. As you can tell, I don't really give a damn about it too much when it's people get that irate about stuff. Oh, cool. Okay, so now we're rocking with some slightly lighter tones. So, like here, just over the top of the bone there, we can add in some highlights. God, I keep forgetting I'm drawing it. Is it good? Oh, okay, you like it. I see a lot of people talking about, like, you know, proper Marvel fans, which I equally am, but, you know, they voice their opinions on TikTok and stuff, but talking about, you know, how they a lot of She-Hulks may be written in a certain way that's like it's, you know, obvious what it's trying to do, you know, empower women, etc., fair dues, but at the same time it kind of like, I think she's having like a contest with the Hulk or something, and like tries to outdo him in some way, but he's like blatantly stronger than her as a character. I feel like these days it's pretty hard, you know, for me, if I wanted to talk about stuff like that on stream, I think it's quite a hard topic to kind of talk about, because I feel like people get really upset if your opinion doesn't match their opinion. Like, you can like something and other people not like it. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's why we're all human. And that's why we all like drawing and not a lot of other people do. The scratch work will come to life soon. Prey was very good. What's Prey? What's Prey? I can't Google it right now. Oh, do you know what film we watched the other day? Was one of the Netflix ones, and it's the I Came By. If you've seen it, it's, well, if you haven't seen it, sorry, it's definitely worth a watch. Someone was talking about this the other day on TikTok, that you can tell I spent, like, you know, a good 17 hours a day on TikTok, but that if Netflix films were released in the cinema, potentially some of them would have had a higher you know, sort of rating as such, and get more credibility if they're in the cinema. But because you just watch it in your lounge, they don't get as much credibility as they could do or should do, because they, you know, they're just very easy watches, and they're easily you get them, you watch them, you smash them out, and then you're done. You move back on again, and you move on to the next thing, and it's forgotten about, kind of thing, which I kind of agree with. I'm gonna have to start getting a bit braver with these colours shortly. It's all good, Troy. It took a while to adapt to the curvature of the pumpkin. You know, for example, I've gone way further with the teeth. I'm just trying to get in sort of the tones, and then maybe I'll go back in and like adjust, and maybe add like purples maybe here and there and whatnot. But let's go in with some shadows now. and continue in these sort of areas here. Again, I just need to always remember that my line work needs to be vertical, so I can follow along with the consistency. We can add in some shadows here, that's fine. We were talking about Disney films, Troy. That's all you missed. We're talking about Disney films and what ones we've watched recently. What is the all-time favorite Disney film? I'm talking like classic back in the day. Again, whacking the old VHS in. You know, what we talking? What is the classic? Oh, Troy, 100%. It's a tricky subject to be drawing. Very tricky. I'm feeling it already. I think in some areas I've got to abandon the scratch work to just make sure detail is drawn in correctly. Also, the white looks a bit boring in comparison, but it's kind of cool. I think once I start to like go back over myself here, for example, and start to really gloss in some extra detail, we can maybe bring this to life a bit more. I need to do the teeth, but I'm worried about doing the teeth. So I think I'm going to draw one tooth in and duplicate it and move it across. I'm going to be cheating. Ah, Julie, you're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. Always the Lion King. Do you know, I might start banning people actually. So I'm going to go all out defensive now. I might start banning people if they start saying anyone but... Everybody to their own. But you're wrong. MC Van says 101 Dalmatians again. Old school one. We're thinking back in the day. The older one. That was a belter. I'm just trying to do a tooth here, believe it or not. Just darken up this side here. Excuse me. Old school, great mouse detective, the Black Cauldron. Mulan. Well, I'm guessing, yeah, but not the. Are you talking about the new Mulan or the old one? Are you talking about the one with the? Because isn't the new one? The new one's like completely different from the old one, right? So we're talking cartoon versus live action. Doesn't the cartoon one have stuff in it that the new one just doesn't at all? Like, doesn't it have like no singing in it? Is that right? The old one. Yeah. I've got to be more brave here with the shadows and stuff like there, and that's fine. If we duplicate that tooth and maybe move it across, like here for example, I think that's the key to doing that section. Aristocats, Bambi, the new Dumbo, that's pretty good. We watched that not that long ago. I quite like that one. Treasure Planet, I can't remember that one. are getting shown up here with the old tutorial, not tutorials, the Disney films. Because I can't remember any of those, but I've got such a bad memory, it's a joke. How long have I been doing this for? Nearly 2 hours. Damn. Oh, those teeth. These teeth are bringing it together. And then I think in a minute I'll just kind of like manipulate them and like warp them and stuff. For a minute, we're just going to get them all in. Okay, teeth-wise, we're good with that. Now I want to be super lazy and just duplicate the layer, flip it, adjust it somehow. Not horizontally, we flip it vertically. We maybe distort it. Bring those teeth over to there. These teeth down here somehow. See if we can just save ourselves some time. And bring these teeth around. They're gonna sit underneath the top ones anyway, but if I can get them, close enough, which that is. Do I actually want to bring them down and leave a gap? We'll darken them up as well. We'll separate them up a little bit. I don't know whether to leave a gap in there and just like add darkness on the inside. That might look pretty cool. Have I? No, I surely haven't. Brave. What was Brave again? Oh, is that the Scottish girl? The ginger Scottish girl, the archer? Wrong set. The teeth are okay, but that's it. So this pumpkin has about 56 teeth. Seems a lot. Yeah, I wanted it to. I didn't want to just put a skull in there. Do you know what I mean? Because it wouldn't. A human skull. It had to follow the characteristics of a pumpkin. I mean, I guess if that goes to roughly there, then his teeth go like here, like side to side there. So it's quite a big mouth, but yeah, it's pretty mad, the amount of teeth it has. I mean, that's the Scottish one, eh? I love talk. I always talk in a Scottish accent all the time, especially to the dogs. If the dogs are doing something or like messing around, or I'm just nattering to them, like if they're just chilling, always typically in a Scottish accent. It's my favorite. It's my favorite kind of humor as well. Like hearing a Scotsman comedy act is the best. I don't know why, it just tickles me so much. Okay, cool. Let's now get into adding in some extra shadows in here. So we'll create the curve marks underneath each tooth. Try not to run in there, but I know I will about 1,000,000 times. to be a bit more aggressive with these shadows in here, with the details and stuff. Like here, for example, I should really be adding like a little crease under there, which will just nicely emphasize that. We can, you know, add in a little brown mark here into the bone, and maybe even like a little one there too. And that will just nicely give off the impression that I wanted to. That's coming to life a lot more. Lovely jubbly. Human brain inside would be cool. You could like cut the top off, couldn't you, and just have a brain in there. I need to be a bit more aggressive with the shadows, but I'm going to sneak in a little bit of the soft airbrush, just a little bit, like under here. I want this to have a particularly dark look to it, and I don't think my scratch work is quite doing it in that area just yet. If we go into here, maybe even to straight white. Stitch as well. Was Lilo and Stitch? That's good. I don't think I've ever seen Lilo and Stitch, and that's quite embarrassing. Did you guys see I posted in Discord of that I'm going to Silverstone next year for the F1? That's nicer. I'm getting a bit too carried away with the scratch marks and not just blocking in shadows where shadows should be. If that makes sense. You know, trying to roll with that highlight sort of system a bit too much and not just blocking in nice curves and darker areas. This is way too bright over here. Where is Silverstone? I actually can't remember, and I've only just been there. Isn't it just like near Oxford? Trying to work out if it's an easy enough journey for you to make. Is that what you're trying to do? I have to head into a meeting. I'll check back later. I'm done to see if you're still on. No worries, Troy. I would say enjoy your meeting, mate, but yeah, that'd be a bit like I'm taking the mick a little bit. Cool. This is slowly getting there. Just introducing some darker shadows in here, trying to be a bit braver with the scratching. You know, we don't always have to have solid lines like around the eye socket there. We can clearly see that it's kind of shape. We're just seeing the bone. We want to make sure that the bone is like nice and rounded. see at Disneyland. I need to see. I need to work out if we. I don't know if this is final yet, but see if we've got any Canadian viewers or regular viewers or users. See if I head over there potentially on mine and Mrs. Create's honeymoon next year. Add a glow to the eye. I could make it look like there's a bit of like a candle in there, maybe something like that we could do. But bear with, we'll see what we can maybe do in there. Just want to get these scratch marks in here as well now, so we can start to tie the whole design together a bit more. That looks cool. Let's maybe go across here too. I want to give each area kind of like a different angle of lines. A little bit more like that. That looks cool. Really nice. Let's go to here. Maybe block in some color. So say here, all the ones somewhat facing upwards would get a nice bit more orange on them, maybe just the tiniest little bit off of here too. So almost like there's a candle on the inside behind the skull would look kind of cool. The only thing I need to do is, my iPad's just about to go into, is it nighttime mode or whatever, night shift, is add this highlight around the edge of the pumpkin lines, which from memory is going to be all the way down here, like so something like this. Let me just triple check the music's still rolling around. Sometimes it doesn't repeat. Thanks, Jay. Yeah, definitely feels like after the skull and then adding in this like line work and stuff round on the inside edge of the pumpkin here, it's starting to bring it together a little bit more. Always highlights and shadows, man. Highlights and shadows just bring everything together. It always, to me, it's just my favorite step. It always takes it to that level, the next level, and gives everything. Oh, that looks really cool. Here there's like, it could, I don't know what it should be. How do you become this pro on Procreate? Oh god. I mean, the only thing, Ben, here is that I've been drawing this particular design now for 2 hours and 15 minutes. So the more time you can potentially invest in drawing, like time wise, but the fundamentals are always there. And somebody, I can't remember who said this to me the other day, but they drew their own design and then they referred to me in their captions as saying, and shout out to Joel Create for drilling into me about lighting and where your light source is, and then therefore the corresponding shadows. So like, if you can continue to just roll with the fundamentals, like, and of your highlights and your shadows, and you know, working out where things need to be darker and where other things shouldn't be, you know, should be lighter, that will help you a bunch. That will really, you know, make all your designs consistent. So that would be my number one piece of advice, is nail down your highlights and shadows consistently. And there's loads of exercises out there, but that will really take your game to the next level. And then this particular design, the only thing I've done with this design is that looks really cool is I'm being arguably lazier by just doing this scratch effect. I'm just, and I'm not paying much attention at all. There was occasions where I was looking at the camera and looking at the chat, because like it's just a up and down kind of effect. So but dude, just practice, man. Just practice is key. That's all it is. I say a lot of the time, you know, do tutorials. Even if you think you would know how to do something from the beginning, if you can do a tutorial, there will be something in there that a creator will tell you how to do. That's the wrong brush. And even if, you know, you may pick up on the odd little thing, whether it's just like a quick shortcut to do something, or, you know, it could be anything that teacher's trying to teach you, but you know, you will pick up on the odd little things that they do and keep making your way through the tutorial. You'll pick up all the fundamentals constantly, because a lot of us teach the same things. And there's also loads of tutorials out there for highlights and shading and stuff, so I would personally take a look at those if you get a sec. But like, my eyes are going blurry, dude. Like, my eyes are going... I have this thing where it's really... I don't know if it's just me or what, but when I'm drawing for so long, I'll blur my eyes that... apparently, there's only a few people that can do this. Not a few people. I'm not saying I'm like, you know, the second coming of Jesus, but like, there's only a... Not everyone can focus their eyes and unblur them on demand, apparently. But like, I can blur my... I'll always, like with this style, I'll blur my eyes because it blurs the scratch lines together rather than looking at the actual detail, and I can see what looks good and what doesn't. It's kind of a weird thing to kind of explain. I'm sorry. But can you do that? Or am I just... No. You know. Bella says... Oh, sorry. Well, I sort my eyes out. Everybody's liking the scratch effect. That's awesome. And Bella says, I find tutorials on YouTube and follow along. I almost always learn a new tip and reinforce things I already learned so far. And wow, that's so awesome. I appreciate you, Bella. And my eyes blur when I'm tired. Oh, Julie can do it. Okay, so me and Julie are the second coming of Jesus. There we go. But yeah, like Bella said there, like, it's just, that's what art is, isn't it? Art is constantly practice. So if you can continuously do tutorials and learn the odd bit here and there, it will come along quite well. Do you know what I'm really nervous about is if I share this on Instagram, I'm going to get absolutely hounded in the comments for a tutorial on this. But there's absolutely no way I'm drawing for 2 hours for a tutorial. Do you know what I find quite interesting with the Procreate space of tutorials? I get asked quite frequently, you know, can you do more detailed tutorials? And I was going to make a TikTok about this, like a one for on the Joel Create channel, but like can you make longer tutorials for more detail? I'm like, yeah, cool, no worries. And then I go and do something like the jackpot design on the weekend before, and that was an hour and 5, and it's just flopped completely. And then I no doubt get like told like the tutorial's too long. And it's like, well, what else can I do? You wanted more. I can't win. I can't win. I think there's some really cool stuff we could do with this still, but involving the soft airbrush maybe. The layer count in this, I don't know what it is, but it's getting pretty high. I don't even know where all my layers are at this point. I've got the eyes, the holes for the eyes, so if we go down to here, these are the base shadows. So we create a new layer above this. Set this to maybe overlay. I don't think that's going to be the right colour, the right option. I want to involve the soft brush because we could get like some nice gradients in here. But that's too orange. And that just annihilates the design. So I'm thinking change this to normal. Is that set to normal? That's not set to normal. Clear. Let's go to say here. Oh, do I like that, or is that too soft and takes away from the fun, darker look to it? I think I like it without it. Right, sorry, let me catch back up. You can never win, absolutely. It's all good though. Kevin says, yeah, you're never going to make everyone happy. The trick is to keep everybody happy enough that they don't unsubscribe. I believe that I just keep drawing for moi, you know, if I draw because I want what I want to draw kind of thing. Julie says, I hope to figure out the whole water and wine thing before the weekend. Water and wine? What's that? Oh, right, sorry. I'm with you. Yeah, sorry, I remember. I always do this, don't I? I always forget what the hell we were talking about, and now I'm like, what, is Julie high or something? I'm with you. I'm going to struggle here now to do the eye with the candle inside. The only thing I could probably do is if I make a candle. So if we just, this is going to look a bit nuts for a minute. Let's go right to the top. If we were to imagine, this is going to look really rough. There's a candle here in the middle. We then add in a nice glow from it, and then we just make our way down the colors here, like so, into something a bit brighter, to say here, and then we set like a new layer maybe to say add, and really brighten that up in the center, so like that looks really, really cool. If I was to merge those two together, that does not give me the effect I need. So I can't merge that down. No. So, what I then need to do is a couple of things. I could select this shape, mask this, select this shape, mask this. That gives me like a glow. I don't like it. I don't like it. I think the fact that it just needs like a glow on the outside to emphasize that that is a light source. It's like the light is in there, but it's just dead. So like if I was to say go around here, set this to say add, and go around the light like here, it's got to like spread its light out, if that makes sense. It's got to be diffused. Like Kevin said there, you got to add some light. I don't like the add, I don't like the colors inside. I think this needs to be a bit more like orange. Maybe this needs like texture in this, so like to emphasize kind of like the inside of the pumpkin. I don't know. Also, this doesn't make any sense, does it? Because if we imagine the skull, and then the skull is in the middle, surrounded by the skin of the pumpkin, which means the inside of the skull is obviously white. So yes, this is a candlelight, but that should be like a grey in there. That needs to be like, say maybe like this. That did nothing. I think I'll abandon the candle idea. I know that it would look cool if it had the right effect. No. Do I do it? One thing I do want to do though is maybe some sort of floor, or do I just leave it isolated like that? What, maybe... Go on, give me your ideas. This is what I always like it when this happens, where we all get to play a part in it. Can you hear me okay, by the way? Is this like loud enough? Would you mean to move it closer? It's a bit better. What are we thinking? Right, hang on, my eyes are absolutely knackered. So Kevin says just a small glint, whether I would come from, whether I would be in the socket. Julie says when there's no hole at the top for the candle anyway. That is also a good point. Julie then says she likes it without the glow. Jay says maybe it's how Jack Skellington, the Pumpkin King, was really supposed to look like. And Blue Bear says, what if there was just a tiny candle sitting at the bottom of the skull? What do you mean? And Kevin says, that sounds fine. Perfect. But where would the glow come from? What? Where? Inside or outside? Also, what are we saying about this 90s fleece? Look at, oh, God, look how cool I am. I sound like my dad. Oh, it's bacon. Inside. Okay. Okay, let's see what we can do then. Let's clear this layer. Go to normal. So what, just a small glow like that, like almost like a very small glow inside. Okay, cool. something like that. Oh, guys, look at that. Who suggested that? You're getting a raise. Who said that? Okay, that's fine. However, we need to also show this glow in the other gaps. So we need to select this shape here and add it to the mask. So here, I need to go to white and drag and drop that into that space. And also on this layer too, we'll add it in there too. That's fine. And then also this gap here in between the teeth, we need to select that gap and add that to the mask as well. So that then, oh, what happened there? Oh, okay, I'm with you, I'm with you. I know what I did wrong. I need to select the teeth and clear it from this layer. Select those teeth, clear it from that layer, then select this shape, go back up to the top. Oh, no, we'll drag and drop the colour in. And we'll drag and drop the colour in. Okay. You're giving me more work to do, but it's all good. It's all good. Now we need to reflect that lighting on the socket itself. Right, so what needs to be done in order to achieve that? Firstly, light source, bang, is going straight across. Who asked that question earlier? Was it somebody called Ben? Yes, Yusuf Ben. This is again consistency of, we've added a new idea. How does that affect the rest of the design? This layer here, I need to add in some lighting from the center. Bang, that light source coming straight through, so we're going to hit these areas here. So I'm going to have to start to introduce some kind of soft lighting in certain areas potentially where that lighting is hitting. So does it hit these areas here, for example? Maybe. I think I first of all want to grab the exact right color, which is something like this. It's a nice warm tone. The light's coming through there, so I need to start to add it onto here. So that light's coming through. You always, not only because this line here also just needs to be kind of diffused a little bit, so we are going to go in with a soft airbrush. I don't want to do the scratch effect because it's quite a soft lighting. Is that on the wrong layer? Yes, potentially. Let's clear that and go again. So this is something that I need to tell myself to do more often, is to draw for myself in a sense. So like today, because I get to experiment with different ideas and not worry that it's got to be short enough to be a tutorial and all that sort of stuff. So this is really fun for me too, because I get to create something really fun and see what we can come up with. Don't want to add too much here. Likewise here, we just want to show that the lighting's creeping round. Just a little bit. You know, we don't have to add it onto everything, but we can just add in the tiniest little bit under the cheekbone there where the lighting's just rolling round. That's cool. Maybe a little bit here as well on the edge of the jaw. The teeth. You know, we could just be quite brave there really and just put like a little streak there, but I think I would probably create a new layer, say to add maybe, and roll that soft lighting through there instead. Oh yeah. Okay. teeth wise, I think some of these could maybe do with like a really fun kind of like, I always use the word fun I guess for it, but it is fun for me, a little, you know, highlight on the top of the teeth where the light is, you know, touching right on top of those. Again, going back to Yusuf's point earlier and me answering that question, is just now it's a real exercise in where is the lighting touching and what can we add in. There's a real contrast of styles though at the minute, which is one thing I've just noticed, of the fact that some of it's quite soft and glowy and the rest is kind of scratchy. It's kind of cool though because it's kind of like forcing them together, but I wouldn't recommend doing that. You should, your style most of the time should be consistent across the whole lot, but that looks really cool. What are those scratchy brushes? The brushes, it's the owl line brush from the minimal owl tutorial that I put on YouTube. Could somebody, because I can't, or could I? No, I can't. Could somebody go to that tutorial, tap on the link to this owl brush, and then copy the link and paste it in the chat for me, please? Just in case anybody else is thinking, if somebody can just say, yeah, I'll do it, that'd be magic, and, you know, go and do it and paste it in, just so no one, not all of you go and do it. But that'd be wonderful if somebody does have the time to do so. What's gone? Oh no, yeah, it's fine. Coco? 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 I know which one you're talking about, Joe. Thanks. Okay, cool. I'll do it. Appreciate you, Julie. Thank you. Okay. The only thing I'm now struggling with is shading on the bone area of here. Like, this almost now needs to be like darker in certain areas to create more of a rounded look to the bone, darken off some shadows a bit, you know, a bit more aggressively, let them be a bit darker. So the only thing really that would get lighting at this point is this cheekbone really, and just up here, because the lighting was coming this way, but now we've introduced a second light source. So I'm just going to undo that for a sec. The question we have: should the inside of those sockets be a different color? You know, just hypothetically, if it was white, even though that's incorrect completely, but let's just say like a grey, so it signifies the inside of the skull, because the inside of the skull would be oh, it's French. Bonjour. Bonjour, ça va? That's all I got. Should that be, or should it be just like a gradient, you know, like, well, damn. Should that be like a gradient? So like, it's a bit grey. Yeah, a little something like this. So it looks more like a skull, or am I taking the concept a bit too far? Too much grey. Yeah, let's just roll with the dark. It would be dark in there anyway, other than the fact that there's a candle. Could we do something where, I think it was this, is it this part of the glow? And is it this part? No, it's solely this part here. Oh, hang on, that is incorrect. If that's where the glow's coming from, that needs to be there too. No. hellfire. What have we done wrong here? Is it this layer? So what layer is that? There we go. Just had to make sure that I look really separate then. Did that work, Julie? That link? Or did it ban the link? So I can't see it in my chat. Okay, how far do I continue to take this? If you've done the owl tutorial, then you've already got it, but I appreciate it, Julie, thank you. How far do we take this now? Do we, for example, does the candle... How strong is this candle light going to be, Joel? Oh, come on, let's be honest. I'm thinking, like, would it create a new layer right at the bottom? And would that, you know, start to spit... Not like that. Would that start to spill out onto the floor, say underneath, where you get like a little bit of lighting come through here? So maybe like this. Just little glow maybe on the floor. Some sort of glow. I mean, that does look pretty cool, but is it one step too far? Is it necessary? Also, knowing when to stop is also pretty key. I won't lie. You know, this is just for fun at this point, trying to see where we could take this. Oh, maybe that. Okay, that's really weird then, Julie. But thank you. I don't know why that's banning it. Stem. I would add a stem. I truthfully can't really be bothered, but maybe I should. Okay, Kevin wants me to not sleep tonight. He wants me to shrink it down. I'll put it on top of a scarecrow in a field at night with a raven. Yeah, that would put pretty sick, to be fair. Definitely not something I'm doing now. Maybe I'll just go to Google and just grab a scarecrow image. Right, what's next? I really love it. I really like it. I posted the link to YouTube tutorial too, and did that work? I didn't see it on my end, so it must be banning links completely. It's okay, Julie, but thank you. That just needs to be very soft. Very soft. The thing is, the inside light looks sick. I like it, but I'm not sure how it works with the skin, not skin, the color of the bones. Where is the bones? Look at me. Where's the layers? Where is that? Okay, here. You know, that's nice. That's nice and dark. I'm just wondering whether or not the bones are white enough, basically? Like, do I need to add in a layer that's, you know, around these edges here? Yes, they're glowing, but they should be whiter, really, when you think about it, because that's where, you know, what color the bone is. Does that make sense? Just like little things like that. Do I need to add? Or just stick to what I had before, which was this? Too much. No, do you know what? That's fine as it is. That looks cool. I think that lighting spills over there. That lighting is fine. That is good. This maybe just needs to be a bit undone. So maybe that just like rounds off there a bit more. Okay. Oh, damn, that looks awful now. Putting that glow in the background has ruined. I actually cut out some shapes. Or do I? Let's. Yeah, how does it go? Okay, we gotta stop. I gotta stop. It's just gonna go on forever, isn't it? Just tinkering and tinkering and tinkering. What would you do next? Because I'm thinking there's not a lot you could do after this. This stalk on the top, obviously, could do that. What else could we do? My only problem with adding in the stem, the whole design's now got a really orange, warm look to it, especially now with the candle glow on the inside. I don't want to add green to it. I don't want another colour going in there. At the minute, the whole design, even down to the background, it's not black. It's like a very dark browny orange. I don't want to add a third set of colours in there, which would be the greens plus the whites in this area. I just think it's going to look a bit naff. I could add a brown one in there. A grey one, a grey and brown. Yeah, that would look cool. Yeah. Pumpkin stems are brown. You cut once you cut them. What time is it? 20 to 11. Yeah. Right. We'll add one in. We'll add one in. And we'll mess around with the tones, but I'm not going to do like a long one. I think I'm just going to keep it relatively short. Put the drawing assist on. Symmetry. Don't like that shape. Yep, that's good. Okay, so same rules are going to apply. We just got to apply them here as well. So we just get really bold with adding in the color. So we start off with a nice big bit of orange. We then transition into this color. Maybe transition into this color right on the left side. But afterwards, I'm going to color the layer. I don't want to at the minute run into additional palette colors. I just want to get the whole thing in, and we can just hue it afterwards, it's fine. And then we switch to the highlight and we start scratching away and adding in cool highlights. So we're going to scratch away into here, and I'm going to create a separation here. We could create one in the middle. I'm in charge of this design. We'll create one just here. There we go. Let's then roll around into the darker side, so we can maybe just scratch away into this too. I think you guys are in charge, really. Let's maybe add some other bits in here. You guys think you're in charge. That's the difference. Let's just darken this area up here. Oh, is that not clipping mask? Okay, cool. That looks okay. What do we think? Oh, sorry, Kevin's off. I have to come back. I'll have to come back and watch the rest later. See you later. Kevin, appreciate you dropping in, my friend. Good to see you. Take care. Okay, we're happy with that. We're happy with that. We just need to adjust the colors, correct? Everybody say I in chat. Say I. A ball. A ball. Okay, cool. Right, so let's just be brave and merge all the layers together. Then we'll go up to hue, saturation, and brightness. Let's lower the saturation. What are we going for here? Sorry, we're going for like a grey, dried up. So I guess lower the saturation down a little bit there. Maybe even darken it up a smidge more. See, that I quite like because it's now so desaturated. It's almost like a grey white. My screen's actually looking a little bit grayer than what you're seeing there, so that complements the skull side, because that then nicely follows suit. I just realized if I download this video, this stream, I could turn this into a reel, maybe make it a little bit worthwhile. We happy with that? Like that? Yeah. Do we go a little bit darker or brighter? No. Go a little bit darker there. 8 bar, 8 bar. I'm going to take the saturation down a tiny bit. Okay, cool. That is sweet. Cool. What is just something a bit nuts that we could add in that would look, just out of curiosity, something nuts? I'm thinking like fire out of this iron. No, I'm not. Although actually, what would that look like? If we went to this layer, grabbed, liquefy, just testing something out. Whoa. Distortion pressure. Why is it warping the mask? That's really annoying. I'll have to remask it. Oh, damn. Turn that off. I just need to keep hold of that layer. And then hold fire. Let's select this. Let's mask that. This is just a test. That's a little bit nasty. Oh. Spider crawling out of it. It just looks like there's a mad fire inside there, which looks a bit crazy. It was just experimental, just to see what it would look like. It does look very cool, but that's like too much of a realistic fire, I think. There we go. All right, let's sorry, Joe. When it comes to Halloween, I get lots of ideas. It's all good. Would you like a sneak peek of this Friday's YouTube tutorial? It is Halloween based. Let's go for one camera there a second. Switch this around. Step out there. Go to YouTube. Let's go to here. So this is going to be this week's YouTube tutorial. Colors are a bit off on stream, so don't take that into consideration. Paper cutout design, obviously. Beautiful crisp edges on the edge of all the works here. Nice texture in there as well. All these are stamps provided by myself. And that is going to be this weekend's YouTube tutorial. It's a nice Halloween one. It's nice and early. Nice fun one to do with the paper cutout design. I know a lot of people like it. Let's go back to here a second. And go back to today's design. That guitar is my dad's. When he passed away, he had like 12, maybe 14 guitars, and I kept 2 of them. This one, I looked at the wrong side. This is one he had. This one, but it was in 4 or 5 different colors, and so I kept the red one. My sister kept her own colour. My auntie kept another one. So I got 2 guitars that I need to find homes for. I want to, ideally, these walls won't hold it, but to have the guitar maybe like mounted up on the wall or something, or otherwise like over there at my other desk would look pretty cool. But at the minute it's just decoration. I've got like another poster because I've redone this whole room, because that's my working desk behind me, and this is my job crate desk as well. So a few bits and bobs just laying around. Cool. Listen, this has been great. This style, very experimental to start with. It wasn't what I was intended on doing. I was gonna do much less there was much less detail in there, as there kind of is, but the detail came quite quickly with the style. Nice and easy to do. I would say have a go, like see what you can come up with the style. Maybe watch the stream back and see what you can come up with in your own version. It's obviously a long one. We're wrapping up now at 3 hours in, but it's a long one. But if you can just take a look at like literally what the work is. Again, never get lost in the detail, because when you zoom out, we're looking at the whole picture. So there's a lot to take in once we do zoom out. I'm trying to think what else there is in this one that I would want to point out. Highlights and shadows is key every time. We've got the yellow side here is obviously symbolizing that there is a light source up here somewhere hitting this side, and then we've got a darker side where we're experimenting with sort of oranges and browns just to give off that shading, and then also with the light coming from up here again, it's coming across and it's clipping the edge of this cutout here. And then likewise on the inside of here, every lip edge here is highlighted or shadowed. So there's a highlight here, there's a highlight just here, and then there's a corresponding shadow here. This edge here is facing the light source, so nice highlight, and then this edge here is a nice shadow. And then likewise here, just shadows inside. The shadows being cast on the inside, like in the eye here. We've got a nice shadow here underneath and around this edge, because the light, although it's just about going to sort of creep inwards, the lighting's primarily on here. And then again, lighting coming in is just clipping this area here of the bone structure, but here is all shaded. So yeah, just highlights and shadows. I'm glad you're still around, Ben. I appreciate you hanging around in the chat for so long and seeing it sort of from start to finish. But yeah, that's something to just keep an eye on, dude. Just keep practicing. Practice with smaller things. If I were any of you, I would do the pumpkin, scrap the skull. There's no point. It's just extra for the sake of being extra. But just do the skull. Just do the pumpkin in like a normal classical style, or do something like this where you've got nice sharp lines to work with. If you want to practice that. And yeah, I'll tell you what I could do. It doesn't matter. Okay, where were we? Ben, I appreciate you, bro. All your artwork is magnificent. I appreciate you, Ben. Blue Bear says you're excellent at light and shadows. It's just practice, literally, and it's what I try to practice. I worry that patrons get bored of my concepts, but the concepts are fundamentals of, I guess, drawing. Is highlights and shadows. Where's your light source come from? It doesn't matter whether you're doing a landscape in the most pristine amount of detail you've ever seen. The lighting and shadow, it still plays a part. There's only certain types of lighting that doesn't do that. There's soft lighting, and then there's drastic lighting. This is drastic, but there's soft lighting, like in the middle of in the middle of a day, where, how do I explain that? Maybe it's like very light overcast, maybe, so your light is like diffused kind of thing, so you wouldn't see shadows on the floor. It's just more so like a grey day. but no one wants to draw a grey day. So. Jay, I'm glad you was here. I'm glad you were here too. And Ben says, I just got my iPad Air 4 and I have Procreate in it. Just trying to master it. Keep cracking on with the tutorials, dude. I'm sure, you know, if the more tutorials you can do, I see people do 4 or 5 tutorials a day. It's mad. But the more tutorials you can do every single day, or just draw something a day. You download the Sketch a Day app. You know, guys, I recommend you grab that app, Sketch a Day. And it's got a different design prompt every day. Just give yourself 5 minutes. Like the prompt might be, say, like paper plane. Okay, just draw what comes to mind, post it in the app, and people get to see it. And you know, you can build a little following in there, and it will just help you if you draw. Give it 5 minutes a day with a random prompt. You can easily improve that way. But the tutorials with Procreate will help you learn a lot. There's loads of different people out there that will give you different styles. You know, you've got James Julia, which will give you those beautiful realistic landscapes. Flow obviously has, you know, a huge variety of tutorials, from anything from, you know, straightforward to more complex designs. Tati, fantastic work in terms of, you know, textures. You've got Funky T Creations, as well as my other special guests, Kristen. Boo Studios. Oh god, I'm gonna forget. Psychula, I think. I can't really remember. Off the top of my head, I'm so sorry. I can't remember everybody, but check them out. You know, check out everybody. What's the app name? Sketch a Day. What Bella said there. Apple Crisp. Loads. Listen, guys, I really appreciate everybody hanging out today. We came up with a your input as well in this. You know, we really took it to a really cool level and put extra details in there that I wouldn't have done, but you spurred me on to do it. So we come up with a really awesome design. I'll probably like chop this stream up potentially into a nice little Instagram reel, or share it just potentially to the feed kind of thing. But I appreciate everybody hanging out. New faces as well. M by Morgan K. You know, Yusuf. Everybody, Bella, Blue Bear, Funky, Jay, Julie, everybody from start to finish. I appreciate everybody hanging out. If you guys aren't here, I'm not here, so I appreciate you. I try to do these every Wednesday if you're new here, so be sure to come and hang out every Wednesday if you want to just watch me draw. And if you've got any questions at all as well, you get to know me on a different level, then do this, do that kind of tutorials. So yeah, I'll wrap it up there. Have a lovely day, evening, afternoon, morning, noon and night, whatever it is, wherever it is you are in the world. Stay safe. I will see you again next week. I don't think anything else is happening next week, so I'll see you again next week. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody, and adios. Oh, also, very last minute shout out to Troy again for the 20 gifted members as well. Shout out to Troy. So if you got one, be sure to quickly drop a message in again. Peace.